Yo, hey, what's up, everybody? I feel kind of green here, but I'll figure it out. It is Saturday, October 14th. It is the Crypto Harlem live stream. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you. And I'm Gemini Matt, as it says in the corner up here. Boom. I always get that mixed up. Um, and yeah, so much to get into. So, what were we doing? Last week, we were going over the book Hacks, Leaks, and Revelations by Micah F Lee, and we're doing the same. Okay, I think I'm gonna try to switch cameras though. So let's see how this goes. Oh, it's so green. Let's see. Um, yeah, it's having a hard time processing. Let's say this. Nope. I guess I'm gonna stick to this cam. Trouble. Boom. Yeah. a- At least I can. Boom. Change the resolution. Get a little tighter, get rid of some of that green. Okay, that was bothering me. Let me also put something on. Let me put something music on, some mood music. So silent. I feel. Um, mhm. Okay, that's what we got here. Yeah, this is chill and jazzy. Okay, there we go. Feels less quiet. All right, well that's that. Thanks for joining. Appreciate everybody who's out here, and we're gonna be doing some more of the same. All right, so yeah, so there's a book called Hacks, Leaks, and Revelations. I always try to put revelations before leaks, and that's not the way, you know. Um, and it's by Micah F Lee, and it talks about like all the things you need to be a hacktivist. There's all kinds of things going on in this world. Well, I feel like I'm. Oh, please let me know if I'm choppy. I feel choppy when I'm. I was like studio, not choppy. Twitch, mad choppy. Hack the planet, baby. Hey, J Thing Pencer, D Elixir. Hey, I know you're both rapid fire in the chat, so you got to let me know if I'm doing this Babe Ruth thing, because I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to be fluid, like water, Bruce Lee. You know what I'm saying? So let me know if it's choppy, and apologies if it is. I'll try to figure out why. Get on top of that. Um, and also let me try to get this cam up. And what else? Yeah, that's that. We got a lot of stuff to jump into, so let's do it. Um, so I will pull up the book because we were looking at this book, um, Hacks and Leaks and Revelations, and it's on No Starch Press, by the way. Let me actually like stop being lazy and do a proper intro to this thing. Um, let's see. Okay, that's the code. That's the book. All right, so and we're just kind of like walking through the book, and the book costs some kind of money, um, but in true hacker fashion, I was leaked a copy by an anonymous source who I will not name. Um, so yo, this book is $50, $40 for the digital version, the ebook. You know what I'm saying? And the ebook for Hacks, Leaks, and Revelations. I'll put the in the chat here. Boom! Look at that. So official. Put on the screen. Yeah, the ebook's like $40, and chapter 6 is free, so anyone can just do chapter 6. And what we're going to be doing is not chapter 6. We started out last week with chapter 0 and the cover of the book, and we're just going to walk through all parts of this thing, because like there's two parts to changing the world with your keyboard when it comes to um, naming names and telling truths and unveiling, shining the light into the darkness, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Um, let me click on this link. And one part of it is getting the information that needs to be, that's of the public interest. Maybe you're a whistleblower and the book goes into this. You know, maybe you're someone who has the information and you're just, it's legally being made public, right? Through a freedom of information request, right? Maybe that's the deal, right? There's all kinds of reasons that, and all kinds of ways that data gets freed. Of course, there are people who will take a digital crowbar and free the data from its digital cage, right? There's hacktivists who do that. But no matter what happens, it's not unusual for these like large data sets to just show up on your door. And the thing is, most people don't know how to process these data sets. Most people don't know what to do with the data sets, whether you're a researcher, whether you're a journalist, whether you're a curious person, whether you're a hacktivist, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, you should know what to do and how to handle the data and how to handle it in the most safe way. Because the thing about things that very few people know, you don't want to be on the list of the people who know it, right? Like that's a list of people who it could be in your best interest to be hidden, to be unknown, and the data itself can out you. And the book goes into like some classic cases of when this has happened. Not so classic to everyone though, so I think it's really great. And I've been really like digging through the book and trying to come up with ways to explain stuff and not get too bogged down, but kind of not do the tech review, which was, this book was written by Micah F Lee. Props to Micah, who's an amazing human being, a truth teller, a researcher, a journalist, a hacker, all kinds of good stuff. And the technical edit was done by Jen Helsby. Props to Jen Helsby, physicist, scientist, computer expert, and friend to animals everywhere. But what we're doing is we're just giving it like the real deal, kick the tires, regular person, zero knowledge, zero technical skills. Can you use this book to turn yourself into a problem for bad things? You know what I'm saying? And a hero to good things. Yes, you can. And that's what we're walking you through. How to be the hacktivist in the most legal and right, correct version of that, you know, like do the right thing kind of way. And we're gonna walk you through it from scratch. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to be a developer. But one thing that you do need is a big hard drive. So that was the first thing that we got the book, and it stopped us dead in our tracks, because it's like what you learn, and it's like what you need, and it's like you'll need a computer. So let's take us back to that. First of all, that was a bummer. It's like you need a computer. So we had to stop the whole thing, figure out what a computer is. So let's get back to this part. I zoomed in. I zoomed so far in. I don't even know where I'm. I'm on page 32 somehow. How did I do that? Okay. No, before part 1. This thing is not listening to me. All right. It looks really, I don't know why it's loading like that. Okay, so you need a computer running Windows, Mac OS, or some kind of Linux. Okay, so get some kind of computer. And I was thinking about this, and I was like, do you need a computer that's running those things? And you do, but I will add that a Chromebook, not all of them, but in previous streams, we explained how to tell what kind of Google Chromebooks support Linux. A Linux supporting Chromebook will actually do the trick. Also, this light, whew, almost got squashed like a video game character. Okay, so yeah, like, so you don't even need the most expensive machine. So if you don't have a computer, you can just go out and you can just go out and buy a Chromebook that supports Linux, and you can get a lot of this stuff done. You also need a USB hard drive with at least 1 terabyte of space, and that was a bummer. So we could not be stopped though. You know what I'm saying? Can't stop, won't stop. We're like 90s hip hop, you know, P Diddy, Puff Daddy up in here. So we went and we ordered a 1 terabyte hard drive, which I have, but it's like actually downloading leaks right now. So I'm like, do I pause the leaks? I guess I should pause the leaks and be like a proper cooking show. And let me go and get the drive. But normally I would just run and get the drive and you'd just be staring at an empty chair or something. We're really trying to give you, you know, that more caviar, you know what I'm saying? Vegan caviar though. High quality, you know, only the best type of stuff. So just give me like a 10-second techno break and I'll be back with the drive. I'll also pause it from downloading leaks using a transmission. Ten seconds is fast. I don't like 10 seconds. Let's make it like 30 seconds. I don't know who I was trying to fool. I don't get up that fast. This chair has got me locked down. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you're in an airplane and you forget your seatbelt on, you get up. That's what just happened to me. 10 seconds. I might need like 10 minutes to get up, but I think I could probably do it. I could probably do it in 1 minute. So why don't you get a snack? Here at Crypto Harlem, we have plenty of snacks available to you using the latest in 2024 technology. Just go into the refrigerator in your home and pick up something. Hey, and if you want to use a restroom, it's right where your bathroom is. Okay, so we'll be back in like 1 minute. That gives me time to like actually not have to like get up and like fall back into my seat and nothing embarrassing. Oh, right, the music break stopped. Sorry about that. But that beat, huh? Really gets you. Yeah, anyway, so we're back. And so what we ended up doing was we picked up this 1 terabyte drive. So last week we ordered this thing on the magic of the internet, and it showed up like with the quickness, like super fast. And speaking about super fast, this ADATA ultra fast 3.2 USB technology Gen 2 USB-C drive is crazy fast. Let me just stop sharing for a second. Look, this box is the box that the thing came in. And if you're a video gamer, it also works on your PS5 and your Xbox. So you can have your leaks on here and you can have your video games on there. But actually that's not gonna work because Micah told us to encrypt our drive. So we're gonna encrypt our drive. So I'm on like 5 different machines at the same time right now. And I'm going to pause. I have 5 hours to go in pulling down the Blue Leaks leak, which was a leak apparently of about 270 gigs of policing data, right? But I'm gonna go eject this thing so I can show you what it looks like. Let me load down the music. And also let me get this mic cracking. Make sure I'm pulling from the right audio source. Yeah, I am. Got my echo cancellation. Okay. Ooh. Okay. And yo, so check this out. So in this box, which looks like this, is a drive that looks like this. The drive is really tiny. It's and I'll unplug it. I don't know why I'm not trying to unplug it. So the drive is like this. Look how tiny this thing is. And the drive is water resistant and dust resistant. It says proof, but it has an IPX rating. It's not like forever. And the most important thing is this little rubber cap, which is held on with a really skinny joint. So don't pull hard on it. But that rubber cap covers the ports, the one USB-C port. And this thing does not get hot. It is a really cool form factor. Do not lose your leaks. Don't be that hacktivist, okay? Like, I've got the location of the UFOs and I found out what's in the NASA asteroid but then I lost the hard drive. Don't be that hacktivist, okay? So if you have to put some kind of tracker on this thing, put a tracker on it, man. Whatever you gotta do, don't lose your drive. So it comes with this super thick cable. This cable is crazy thick. It's not tooth floss, right? And yo, when this cable and this drive come together, the data is flying. Like I moved like about 250 gigs onto this thing in I think 5 minutes. So yeah, enjoy your beverage of choice in a Crypto Harlem mug, available at cryptoharlem.com, all supplies last. Support the cause, buy some merch. So yeah, check it out. There it is. So we bought this drive and it's a 1 terabyte drive and it will hold all our leaks and all our secrets. And we're using it to follow the instructions in the book, Hacks, Leaks, and Revelations, which if you don't know or you're just joining us, we're gonna basically teach you how to be a hacktivist in the most legal and correct and right way. And if you want, you can pick up the book at No Starch Press, Hacks, Leaks, and Revelations by Micah Lee. The book is so new. You could smell the webpage. It's so new. The page is freshly programmed. It has a freshly programmed webpage scent. It's like a baby's forehead, you know? So, and where we are is we're actually walking through this copy of the book, which was leaked to me. How ironic. Take that, publishers, okay? Now, it says you need an internet connection that can download 280 gigs of data sets and several more gigabytes of software. And you'll also need to work with data sets from servers in the cloud, so you might need some money. All of this was news to us, you know, because had we actually purchased this book, we would have been like, oh, we got to purchase some hard drives. The hard drive set us back like $80 US. You can figure that out in whatever your local currency is. And we would have been even more upset about the use of a credit card for our cloud data. But we got a little trick for you. When we get to that point, we're going to show you a way you can get some free cloud data. Mwah, delicious, fresh from the truck. Okay? It just fell off the truck. Okay. It's the problem, you get a leaked data version of a manuscript of a book. It's like, just loads kind of funny. So we ended in part 1 last week, so we're gonna pick up in part 1. You know? Like your day one homies. You know what I'm saying? The ones you grew up with. The ones you played with your toys with. The ones you ate paste with. 1, bringing it back. You know what I'm saying? No New Friends, chapter 1. Boom. 1. You know, sometimes in New York, people say goodbye. Some people say peace. Some people say 1. Protecting sources and yourself. And we kind of started this and it talked about how most people aren't aware that we're all under surveillance. I like how the book really drives this home. It's like, you know, inconvenient truth that we are all under surveillance. So It's like, hey, thanks for picking up this book. By the way, we're all under surveillance. And telecom companies, tech giants, people have access to massive data of private information about you. And it goes over some of this. And you're here trying to research leaks, and you can't, and you might be working with a source who gives you the leak, and they might not realize that their work computer, their phone, anything that's pre-installed, some spyware that they might have that monitors everything they do, all this stuff is going on in the background. So it makes it hard for you to work with the data set and actually know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like if they plug the computer, a USB stick into their work computer, that might actually incriminate them. If they text a friend or family for advice about what they want to, what should they do next, that might incriminate them. So, chapter 1, it's not really chapter 1, it's part 1, goes over like how does your source keep safe and how can you keep safe as the researcher, as the hacktivist, as the journalist, as the person who just wants to like access some hidden truths, right? And yeah, we're gonna kind of get into that, okay? Now, one of the biggest areas here is safely communicating with sources. And because everything we do leaves a data trail, again, we are all being surveilled, everything leaves a trail. I feel like there's like some bars in there. Oh, wait, I'm ready. Oh, no writtens. Patch it in, patch it in. Here we go, let's go. We're all being surveilled because we leave a trail. It's a data trail. No, it's not that show. That would have been funny though. Wouldn't it have been like for people who don't know this? There is no rapping here. It does not happen. But that would have been. Yeah. I feel like, I missed my calling though. I really could have been hacktivist, kind of like a nerdcore rapper. So the balance of power between confidential sources and investigators on their trail is extremely asymmetric, right? So that's another thing. You're an investigator chasing after, like you're a confidential source, right? And there's an investigator chasing after them. The confidential source is completely outgunned. They're bringing a Crypto Harlem mug to a gunfight. And while the mug is full of delicious liquid, it might not be what you need. So you have to protect your source. You have to protect yourself. You have to make sure that all the right things are perfectly done, right? And even if you do that, it isn't always enough. Isn't that a bummer, right? Because so much of source protection is beyond your control. It's important to focus on the things that, that is like you can control, okay? And that's what this book is really good advice, I gotta tell you. And it says, as a researcher, another thing you have to do is you have to make sure that the data you have is not fake. It's not misinformation. It's authentic. Right? You got to dip your finger in there and be like, this is the right stuff. Buy it. Like that drug deal scene where they meet at the shipping containers, at the docks in the cargo area where the ships roll in, and someone's got a briefcase for some reason. Maybe it's handcuffed to them, maybe it's not. And they dip their pinky in and they're like, yeah, they don't test it with a lab kit. They don't have a scientist there. Somehow their pinky, they're like, this is raw, uncut, legit. You got to make sure that your data is raw, uncut, legit, authentic. You know what I'm saying? It's not been messed with or tampered with, and that it's real. Because how are you going to look telling truths that are actually half-truths or mistruths or not truths at all? So the simplest way to authenticate documents is to ask the company or government that produced them if they're real. But that's fraught with risk for your source, right? And in some cases, you don't want to give up any details that might reveal your source's identity. And this is really well covered in this part 1. I don't want to like just read it piece by piece, but it spends a lot of time, and the time that it really deserves on these questions you've got to ask yourself. So the first thing it says is like, some data is public data. And it goes into chapter 2 where we'll actually be messing with public data. So any information you discover from a data set that's already been scoured by FBI investigators trying to determine who the hacker was, blah, blah, blah. Let's see, wait, no, that's the wrong part. It's a public record request or a document made public because of a lawsuit can include a lot of data that you might want to report. So that's like what we're talking about by public data, okay? And you don't need to worry about things when you're dealing with public data, because it's already been like, basically handed over. It's in the public domain. There's no chance of accidentally burning your source or providing too many details. So, I would recommend, if you're first starting on this journey, mess with some public data. And there are examples of public data that we can pull down. And I wasn't able to get it all down this week, but we're going to pull down some public data to begin with. Although the Blue Leaks data set is exciting, I thought it'd be fun to mess with some public data first, less of an issue, right? Now, there's also sensitive information that you'll want to keep safe. And if you're dealing with data from a confidential source, you might not want to reveal information that might, have to do with that source. So don't tell anyone about your source or what you're planning on doing. And don't put that on social media. Don't talk about the source to friends. Don't bring it up at a party. I'm so cool. Check it out. I'm a hacktivist. I got the secret source that they're an alien from the planet Mars. They just went to a cybersecurity conference out there and they saw something and they beamed it to me. Don't tell anyone. Like, that's not what you do. Okay? We don't do that. In fact, if you want to be great at this, you got to do more and you got to say less. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, those who talk don't do, and those who do definitely don't talk. That is rule number one. Okay? So it says you have the right to remain silent and you should exercise it. I love that. I love that. And it says, like, if you're interviewing a company or government agency about a leaked data set, don't give them details about your source, even if they ask you directly. Even if you get arrested and the police are demanding to know your source, you are not obliged. And this is written from a US standpoint. It's okay. You got to pick someplace. You can't just write a general thing for general audiences generally. So it says that the only time that you're obliged to reveal information about your source is if a judge orders you to in the United States. Okay, so for all you hacktivisty, researchy, investigator people checking out this podcast, live stream, hacker radio, pirate radio transmission, whatever you want to call it, understand that know your local rules and laws. Okay. And I've worked with people all around the world on this stuff and how to stay safe. And local rules and laws change very quickly and are super different. And if you're not working with someone who understands them, you have to learn them yourself. Leave the smallest digital trail possible. Minimize your digital trail. Understand, like, we're all being surveilled, okay? And there's a digital trail, right? And don't move like a snail, right? So at the end of the day, there's a digital trail. We're all running through a snowfield, leaving digital footsteps. Be smart about that, all right? Either cover the footsteps back with some snow, or just don't make it ridiculously obvious with, leaving ink trails that glow in the dark in the snow, okay? So try not to communicate with email or regular text messages or regular phone calls or social media apps. Don't use those things. And chapter 2 goes into what you should use, and we're going to get into that too. And I like that it's all broken down here. And every once in a while, you get a little tidbit, you get a little, like, real grit, true crime type stuff. And I like that about this. We always kind of like get into that, right? Let's see what's in the chat. Yeah, let's go. Okay, appreciate you. Let me just, if you're watching on Twitch and you say something cool, we'll give you the air horn. So D-Elixir, do more, talk less. That's what's up. You know what I'm saying? So J Think Penter says, hack the planet. And yo, this planet needs to be hacked. What are you waiting for? Grab the keyboard. We're showing you the path, Okay, so let's go. Now, another thing okay, so this is a cool piece that I'll just talk about. The book goes into these stories with, like, such deep information about something. So make sure that your source knows not to search the internet for you or for the report you're about to publish in a way that could be associated with them. A Google search history has been used as evidence against sources in the past. For example, in 2018, the Treasury Department of the United States targeted whistleblower Natalie Mayflower Sowers Edwards, and she was indicted for providing a secret database to BuzzFeed journalist Jason Leopold, who I believe Jason's over at 404 Media right now. Can't even keep track. I think so. It's like some of my favorite leak touchers be out there. Let me see. Who are the four? I know it's Jason. No, it's not Jason Leopold. It's Jason Kobler, Joseph Cox, Emmanuel Mayberg, and Samantha Cole. That's who it is, and Samantha Cole. So yeah, so Jason Leopold's not out there, but J. Leopold. Props to you. The document that she was accused of leaking details suspicious financial transactions involving Republican Party operatives, senior members of Donald Trump's 2020 election campaign, and a Kremlin-connected Russian agent and Russian oligarchs. Ooh, that's steamy, right? So during the leak investigation, the FBI obtained a search warrant to access her internet search history, and her indictment accused her of searching for multiple articles based on the contents of her alleged leak shortly after they were published. So you might be the person who gives the leak, and you might see that the news drops. Do not Google the news. That is a big mistake. In fact, understand, if you go to this website, myactivity.google.com, you will see that your Google search history is just sitting there, and that's the kind of thing that could be subpoenaed, right? So don't go there now because you'll get lost in the sauce. There's a lot of data there. But go in there when you have a chance. Delete, and incognito mode, VPNs, or just don't do it. You're going to be curious. You already know what's about to come out. You leaked it. Don't do it, okay? So learn from Natalie Mayflower Sowers Edwards and that indictment, right? Could have all been avoided had curiosity not caused a Google search. So not blaming the target here of the indictment, but it's got to be really careful. Now, when you're working with hackers and whistleblowers, be careful because not all sources are whistleblowers. People with inside access to data or documents who leak evidence of wrongdoing for ethical reasons. And I will say this, you know what? Not everybody's leaking evidence of wrongdoing for the public interest or ethical reasons only. Yes, ethical reasons, but sometimes they get passed off for promotion, or sometimes they just want to watch the world burn, or sometimes they mad, so that's not the most ethical reason. So not your sources might be helping the world, but they might not be your friend, you know what I'm saying? So you got to keep them safe, but you also got to understand their motivations, and what drives them might not be your motivations or what drives you when you're worried about this data. And if your source is a hacktivist, they might want to bring down some companies or government agencies that they think are unjust. And the good thing about working with hackers that it mentions in the book is hackers tend to understand that they're under surveillance. In case you didn't know, you're under surveillance. There's a digital trail. You're always being watched. Okay. The book, subtly mentions that once or twice. And they understand that everything they do leaves a digital trail. Don't be a snail. You must prevail. Like digital trail. It comes up all the time, right? We're under surveil, right? So they take countermeasures to hide their tracks. And hopefully the hackers know what they're doing. They don't all know what they're doing. That's another thing. So hackers might drag you into some weird thing, but at least when you're dealing with a hacker, and this is written for a general audience, they can often provide technical information that you could use to authenticate the data set using some open source intelligence. And that's the hacker wants you to believe them. They definitely don't want you to know who they are, but they want to prove that this stuff is real. So they often help you figure out how to authenticate the data, the leak, whatever you're handling, right? But understand this, when communicating with a hacker source, it's important that you stick to your role as a journalist or researcher. in the United States. And sometimes the book says in the United States, and other times it doesn't say in the United States. So I'm just going to remind you, this is basically by default in the United States. Okay. You're not breaking any laws by just speaking with a source who's a hacker, but your source is almost certainly breaking laws by hacking into companies or governments. That is most certainly, most likely, highly likely, they are taking that law and putting it in a WWE move and breaking it. You know, like they really are. And you don't want to do something that will, you know, be catching a case. You don't want to be doing major or minor crimes. So never ask a hacker who gives you data to get specific data for you. Don't ask them to go, oh, while you're in there, since you smashed that window and you picked the wallet up off the seat, could you go back to the car and check what's in the back seat and give me a box from there? No, don't do that. Now you just got involved in some mess, right? They delivering the thing, they're just speaking with you. That's one thing. When you're giving them like a menu of, you know, when you're trying to turn this into Uber Eats or something with data, that's a problem. Don't do that. Okay. Don't do that. That is not journalism, fam. You're gonna end up sitting next to that hacker eating ramen noodles if you're lucky, if your commissary's full. Okay. Yeah, it's real. Okay. So yeah, stay out of the cell, right, researchers? And if you're a journalist working with a newsroom, it says you might do better than a freelancer because you have a legal department that might protect you, and you might find that you're better protected under law, you know, because you have a defense fund and all this other stuff. But it doesn't always pan out that way. You know what I'm saying? Ask some New York Times journalists. They had the New York Times back then. They still ended up in a courtroom. Granted, the case I'm talking about, homie had left the paper, published a book. Talk about that later. Sometimes sources pretend to be hackers and hacktivists, or pretend to be whistleblowers, but they're actually state-sponsored hackers. And that's when Micah goes into this Russian military hackers who acted like they were hacktivists when they compromised the Democratic Party Hillary Clinton presidential campaign emails. John Podesta clicked on that link. You know, those who know, bit.ly links. Don't trust them, fam. Okay? But not trying to poop on you, bit.ly. You know, and again, sometimes I make like random inside jokes, but yeah, at the end of the day, they came to WikiLeaks and they were like, yo, WikiLeaks, we are hackers, and you know, we got this information. But they weren't hackers. They were actually Russian agents. And you know, and if you think that the person is not who they say they are, it's not a bad idea for you to mention that you're skeptical about your source. That's okay. You know, your source is not your friend. A couple things that we'll just hammer home. You're always being surveilled. Okay. Don't be a snail. Okay. You're leaving a digital trail. Some sources, they fail. So they're not fam. Okay. Keep your friends close. Keep your sources closer. Now, secure storage for your data. Now we're getting into the fun stuff. Okay. Are you still with me? Are you entertained? Huh? Yes. Yes. Okay. All right, cool. And so far, like, I highly agree with a lot of the stuff, and it was really fun to read this, you know. And it keeps talking about chapter 2. You'll learn this in chapter 2, chapter 2, chapter 2, chapter 2. And it's just exciting. You know, you're like, oh man, I'm only here in part 1. I can't wait to get to chapter 2. Oh, too bad I got to read all these words. Get out of my way, words. I'm trying to get to chapter 2, you know. So a data set might be low sensitivity if it meets one of these criteria. And it tells you that there's like low, medium, and high. There's like, it's like hot ones. There's the wings that just be dipped in ketchup, and there's the wings that like are burnt to the vegan bone, you know? And if you're probably okay with a low sensitivity data set if it's already completely public, such as documents in response to a public records request, if law enforcement or a corporation has already gained access to the data set, and you know, you're not going to get retaliated, the source isn't going to get retaliated, there's no personally identifiable information in the data set, you know, then it's low. That's like, oh, okay, boring, you know. And if it's a low like security data set, like low sensitivity data set, You could just throw that in the cloud. You can put that in your Google Drive. You can put that in the iCloud. You can put that in the drop of the box. You know what I'm saying? You can put that in the AWS, which is a company that will not be named. Not going to tell you what those stand for, but because at the end of the day, it's low sensitivity. And if you're investigating a government, it says, or a corporation with powerful lawyers, they can send subpoenas to cloud providers, right? And get data associated with your account. Again, that's if you use an unencrypted, non-zero knowledge cloud. But don't even get into that game. Just don't put your stuff in the cloud. Make it difficult to hack. Use passwords, use two-factor, lock your stuff down. Right? Now then there's medium sensitivity. Ooh, it's getting hotter, you know? It's getting hotter. It's like there's so many it getting hotter songs out there. I don't know which one I want to use, but it's getting hot. And maybe I'll change the music track. Maybe. Yeah, I will, because I want to like capture the feeling of it getting hotter as we like continue to dive deeper into the different types of data, right? So we're going to go with we're going to go with oh, this unknown artist, unknown album situation is really, I forgot that I moved a lot of stuff. Ooh, where'd I get this track from? Why don't I use this? I bet there's something up with this track. Okay. We're going to use this track. We're going to go with it. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Ooh, you feel it? It's getting more moody now. Now we're dealing with medium sensitivity, okay? Hold on to your hats. So most data sets aren't low sensitivity, you know? It doesn't say that. It says most data sets that aren't low sensitivity are medium. So it's like you're probably dealing with medium most of the time. I guess that's what they're trying to say. I find that like, I don't want to get into that. But they're not already public, but securing them doesn't require you to go to extreme measures, you know? Like, and there's an example of some medical records of patients, and that's medium sensitivity, you know? And you should store medium sensitivity and higher stuff in an encrypted or locked drive in such a way that only the owner can unlock the drive, okay? Here's an example of how to do that. Make sure your computer's hard disk is encrypted. So every computer has a type of like encryption for the hard disk. That's like where you store your files, your downloads, your documents, right? So if you own an Apple computer and it's a Mac, it has a thing called File Vault, which will encrypt that drive, right? And that's just like a baseline. You still got to do some more, but that just encrypts that drive. And that means without your password, the drive can't be accessed, right? From a turned off state, let's just say that. If you have a Windows computer, right, and you have Windows Pro, because you're a pro, and you really should be a pro, if you're out here trying to handle like sensitive stuff, be a pro about it. Ooh. Hope you didn't hear that as I bumped into the mic. That's not a pro move. But be a pro about it. Just gonna plug this power in. Oh yeah. And let me see what's going on with this cam. Nope. Does not want to work. Let's try it again. Huh. Oh, great. Oof. Oh, let me stop messing with this thing before I lose all the cams. Yep. Yeah. Let's go. And if you have Windows Pro, you have a thing called BitLocker, and BitLocker. So let me just type that in, okay? Apple computers, File Vault. Find out what it is, find out where it is, turn it on. PCs, BitLocker, okay? So, like, you can't be playing this game and not having the right equipment, you know what I'm saying? So this stuff is free. Now, if you have a PC and you can't find BitLocker, you probably don't have Windows Pro. You probably have Windows Home. I personally recommend you pay $50 and get Windows or whatever the thing price difference is Pro. But that's, if that's like, I know that's money, you know what I'm saying? So there's another thing that you could use, and it's talked about a lot, and it's called VeraCrypt. Now, me personally, I like to use a lot of different things, including Cryptomator, but I'm sticking to what's in the book, and the book says VeraCrypt, so VeraCrypt it is, okay? So, and VeraCrypt is software you can download from the internet, right? It also says store your data set, even though your computer is encrypted, right? And the computer, you're going to protect it physically. So you're going to make sure that the screen locks automatically after some small amount of time, like the screen turns off after 3 minutes. You're also going to buy a privacy screen. It doesn't say that in the book, but like, come on, this thing costs like $10. Piece of plastic. Look, at an angle, you can't see me. Look at that, I just disappear. Looking straight through it, you can see me. At an angle, I disappear. See that? People can't shoulder surf. So get one of those on your monitor. Come on, just like take yourself seriously. It's hacker time. Now, the data set itself, you'll store it on an encrypted, you'll store it on an external USB. And if your computer uploads parts of itself to the cloud, for example, if you have a Mac and you have iCloud, you might not realize that your documents folder is going up into the cloud. Don't put your secret leaks in the documents folder. So that's a little pro tip there from Micah F Lee. So try to work with all your medium security stuff locally. Don't put stuff on the internet. Keep everything on hard drives. It just makes life a lot easier. Now, some of my favorite hard drives, I have some out here, but what did I do? What did I do with it? Oh, I moved it. Okay. So I was going to go over some encrypted drives that you can use, and I will, but I'll wait till the break. Okay. Because we're about to get into, now, if you're working with other people, right, you need to use an encrypted file sharing solution. So, people need to, so that whatever you're using, they can't decrypt the files. So if you need to like move something onto something, don't leave it there naked. So one thing that you could do is you could use Signal Messenger, and you can put the files there, and and there's a tool that you can use to search data sets, and it comes up in chapter 5 called ALEPH, ALEPH. You can put the data in that tool, obviously, because, it's a secure tool, it does searching. There's a part here where they're kind of talking between like you being the only one working on it and you working with other people. And it's interesting how the book kind of shifts around, and it tries to keep this in mind. But it says all the data sets you'll be working on with this book are low sensitivity since they're already public. See that? Already public, low sensitivity. Even though BlueLeaks, sounds like, oh my goodness, look at all this police data, right? It's super public. It's super public. It's been reported on, so it's like low sensitivity. I'm trying to get that part to load. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Okay, here we go. Now, high sensitivity data is by far the most difficult to work with. It's not for the Joes, it's for the pros, okay? And it's for good reason. The Snowden archive, which is the Edward Snowden archive, for example, is high sensitivity. Micah F Lee says, I spent years reporting on this massive trove of secret government documents from the NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden, who exposed the fact that the US and allies spy agencies were conducting warrantless surveillance and privacy invasions on an unimaginable scale. We didn't want the FBI or NSA to gain access to it, which made cloud services out of the question. But more important, we didn't want foreign intelligence services to access it either. So we assumed that nation-state attackers had the capability to remotely hack pretty much any computer we used, unless we took steps to make sure it never connected to any remote network. See, so they were just like, listen, we had to be smart. So we were like, no internet attached devices at all. And when you're dealing with high sensitivity data, you got to be smart. And you really shouldn't have any device that has any capability to ever connect remotely to anything, because then it can be hacked. And there are all kinds of hacks that you'll never know that is just sitting on like a hacker's bookshelf because they work on a high level. It comes out in like 10, 20 years that hackers have the ability to do it. Don't feel crunchy later. Just be smart. Don't use stuff that could be attached. Remember, we're all being surveilled. We leave a digital trail. Gotta move fast, don't be a snail. Okay? Whistleblowers, hackers, sources, sometimes they fail, right? And high sensitivity data, yeah, no internet. See that? I don't know. I couldn't figure out. If you got a way to add it into our rap song, let us know. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I got to think of something, you know. Don't let it scale. I don't know. Anyway, let's go. So if a data set is high sensitivity, right, use an air-gapped computer. An air-gapped computer is just a term. It's never connected to the internet. In fact, I would say it should have no ability to connect to the internet. So whatever part of it is like connects to the internet, have that part surgically removed. Lobotomize the computer, take it out. So it says, to make sure it's even more secure, unscrew the computer's case and physically remove the wireless hardware. You can do that. You can physically remove it. Or you can, you know, if you know what you're doing, you can solder it out so it doesn't actually work anymore, okay? And there's a lot of challenges of moving data between your air-gapped computer and your normal work computer. For example, installing or updating software on an air-gapped computer, which you still need to do. Think about all these extra steps. They're all worth it. When a breach might have severe consequences, it could cost someone, and it says in the book, it can cost someone their job, their livelihood. That people could be murdered. It could cost them their life. It's like, you know, it's real. You know, it doesn't try to pull any punches. That's what I like about the book. It's very like based in reality, and it's constantly bringing up historical facts and use cases. So be mindful when you're on an air-gapped computer of nearby internet connections and nearby electronic devices, microphones, cameras, anything in earshot, any person in earshot, Google assistants, you know what I'm saying, neighbors, you know what I'm saying, anything like that. Now, then this whole part here talks about Michael Basil's OSINT techniques, resources for uncovering online information. And it is a great book. It's a really thick book. So I just want to share this book. So OSINT Techniques 10th edition. So Michael Basil has this OSINT training, and this, you know, and the training's done by Jason Edison. And this book comes out every couple of years, and it just gets bigger and bigger. And it's just like the OSINT, like, you know, the book on OSINT, you know what I'm saying? And this book, it's 36 chapters, 260,000 words, 550 pages. So, you know, that's a lot, you know? That's a lot. It's a lot of words. And how much does that book cost again? 10th edition. The digital version of the book. You can get an ebook. An ebook of the release is not available. Okay, so don't get the ebook. There's fake ebooks of it floating around. Some of the information is not correct. The 10th edition was released in January 2023. Yo, but like, and it has some links to, they're all Amazon. So weird. Why are they all Amazon, fam? They're all Brazilian rainforest, you know? So, well, we're talking about this. So this is the book itself. 36 chapters, 550 pages. And this is important. So I would say if you have extra dollars, you have some extra money, the hardcover book is $60, but the paperback is $36. Okay, like $40 basically. Um, you get it used or from a bookstore basically. That's how it's going to happen. The hardcover you can get on Amazon for new. The paperback, I think you got to get like, depending on where you are in the world, you got to get like a weird version of it. But basically, it's like $40, and so it's a pretty good deal, I think. You know, so add it to if you're gonna get this Micah's book, Hacks, Leaks, and Revelations, add OSINT Techniques by Michael Basil to it, and at 550 words, and it's like $40. That's like not even 7 cents per word. What a great deal. Okay, so I would definitely recommend it. We're about at quitting time, and I just want to make sure like we're on a good stopping point in part 1. So let me just get back in here, okay? America's Frontline Doctors, and this is in the video that we had watched 2 weeks ago, and that was that group that was responsible for likely people not getting the right medication for their COVID diagnosis and dying, right? And this talks about that a little bit. This talks about the WikiLeaks Twitter group chat where someone actually copied a group chat from Twitter HTML, and it was a WikiLeaks information, and it had some pretty like disparaging things there from a particular Julian Assange character, right? So anyway, it talks about like how to authenticate a data set, and it gives examples about the lengths that a really good researcher, a good journalist, any proper hacktivist should do to authenticate the data set. It also says that redaction is important, and you should block out and delete and not publish certain things. And it gives you a list. Try not to the following list provides options to consider. Unrelated documents or data set. Like, do you need to publish that, right? And this is really risky to your source. And it explains like, if everyone who works at a company had access to a piece like an email, right? When you publish the email, well, it could be anyone who worked there. But as you start like publishing things that have limited access, well, then you start kind of creating a thing where the net is cornering in on your source. So you got to be careful with that, Publish documents after you've redacted them and stripped them of metadata. It even says that you should retype the document into your own document so you don't end up like accidentally publishing some tracking codes or print codes. And it brings up what happened with Reality Winner. Don't publish documents at all. Only describe or quote them to be safe. You might want to do that, okay? Again, recreate documents from scratch. It talks about that's a good idea. Don't even quote from the documents, just describe like the basically what it is. You don't have to use the literal text from the document. If a leak investigators don't know what documents are compromised, only that an accurate news source somehow revealed the information, they'll have a harder time finding the source, okay? It tells you that you might want to consider redacting person identifiable information. You might want to redact things that are like of certain like corporate or government sensitivities to protect your source. And it goes into this 2012 case where John McAfee, John McAfee, who had an incident in Belize where his neighbor went missing. I'm not sure that actually got linked to John McAfee, so I might want to say that the neighbor may have had a dog and they might have had a fight all the time, and then the only person who like lived next to the person might have been John McAfee, and the neighbor might have gone missing, and then he went on the run. You know what I'm saying? I left his home in Belize, and he took a picture with some journalists, and he said, what did he say? He said, I'm currently safe and in the company of 2 intrepid journalists from Vice magazine. But in that picture that Vice published, it had the GPS tracking EXIF data, and it just showed that he was hiding out in a house in Guatemala, and that led to his getting arrested. And if Vice had taken a screenshot of the image and not published the image, like the actual file, the location would have maintained its secrecy. And it just shows some other fails here, like where Reality Winner was arrested, and she was one of 6 people who had access to a printed document, and the printed document was shown, and it had these printer dots. People don't realize that when printers print, they put these particular dot patterns in it, and they are nearly invisible. They're like these little like yellow dots that they add to paper that include the serial number of the printer. So now I know that this printer was printer number 10, which is in the basement in the northeast corner of our office, and I can just find out who printed on printer number 10. So just be careful and protect your source. Also, it talks about when you're trying to get a source, when you're trying to get again a request for comment, and be like, they said no comment, or they said, whatever. You have to be really careful when you're talking to what the group that will actually be investigating your source later, right? So in this part, Micah talks about using public records, tracking down the phone number of someone, setting up a virtual phone number using Google Voice, calling them from that, because didn't want to give them the private number, left a message, the person did not respond. And it says, if your investigation is adversarial, because some people say your journalism needs to be highly measured and balanced, some people are more adversarial, the people you're looking into aren't going to be happy about it, and they're going to come at you. So kind of goes into that in here. There's a section about password managers, and that you need to use a unique username and password for everything, and that you should be using a password manager. It talks about password managers that are easy to use, like 1Password and LastPass, and it talks about password managers that don't use the internet at all, like KeePass. It talks about Bitwarden as well, which is open source. I myself use KeePass XC, so I recommend that. Let's see what's going on here. So anyway, listen, I don't want to go off the rails. I appreciate you. Uh-oh. Hold on. How do let me try. Yo. Okay. So, hello. Are we there? Okay. I these ads that fly in are really annoying. So I just want to say thanks to 00 Rihanna, 01 Ella, J Thing Pencer, for like staying locked in on the stream. Sorry about that lockup. And I got into like a zone. I was in the zone, and but what I should watch out for is an overheating video board that will lock up my stream. So we're just about at time, and I don't want to rush through too much more of this, okay? So I'm just going to wrap it here. And I will share where we are. Part 1, so delicious. Part 1 of Hacks, Leaks, and Revelations. It's like just a lot, So it goes in this password manager section. And then it talks about encrypting your internal disk in specifics, which we talked about: Veracrypt, BitLocker, File Vault. And then it goes over how to make your external hard drive encrypted. And I don't want to rush through that. So maybe we'll start there next week. But one thing I want to make sure that you do, because it takes a while, is you download your first leak. And to do that, yes, you should have danger zone installed, but to do that, you should get the leak, acquire the data set is part 2. So maybe we'll leave it like this. Go get your hard drive, get your hard drive encrypted. If you have a Mac, you want to format the hard drive. Like for example, I had this A data drive. The A data drive didn't come like in a way that I could encrypt it. I had to erase it using disk utility, and I had to be able to change the partition. So, you might, if you have a Mac and you get this like A data drive, you might have to change the partition, and you definitely will actually, to use a GUID partition table, um, it's a standard partition table, but I had to set it up with a GUID partition table. So, if you get a Mac and you can't figure out how to get this thing to be, all the options for erasing this drive, don't mention encrypted, don't mention passwords. Make sure that you look up how to do it. GUID partition table, when you're erasing your A data drive or Mac, right? For Apple computers. And yeah, the book goes over how to set it up. Okay. So yeah, that's that. Let's see what we got here. All right, cool. All right, so listen, we're going to jump into part 2 next, and that's where we're going to start acquiring a data set. But one thing that you can do, because it takes a long time, is you can download Micah F Lee's favorite BitTorrent technology downloading program, which is called Transmission. Transmissionbt.com. It looks like this. Right? And when you get Transmission, it allows you to download BitTorrents. And the more people who have the file, the faster you can get it. I mean, there's a couple things, your internet connection, where we are, what time of day, whatever. But the more people like seeding or like providing the file, the faster you can get it. And so this is what this is Transmission. Okay. So Transmission looks like this. And the website is Transmission, like a car transmission, bt.com. Okay. So download Transmission, and then we can talk a review next week, a part 1, and we'll jump into getting our first data set. Okay. The review is important because I don't want to rush through making sure you have a good setup. And I want to talk about pulling down things on BitTorrent. But if you want to jump ahead, if you're still listening to me and you want to jump ahead, you can go to pull down the BlueLeaks magnet file using Transmission. So you get Transmission, you install it on your machine, and you got your external drive, it's encrypted. You plug in your drive, you put in the password because it's encrypted, it needs a password, right? You open it up and you put the download of your leak there. But where do you get the leak? Transmission is what you use to download the leak. Where do you get the thing you download from? That's where you get it from, is DDoS secrets. And if you go here, you have Transmission, then you go to this website, and this is the distributed denial of secrets page on the BlueLeaks leak, and it explains it. It's kind of like a wiki on it, okay? It explains the Blue Leaks leak. And you can actually download the magnet file. This is advanced. You know, like when you see the workout, and some people in the workout are doing a modified extra hard version. If you want to just be advanced, you can, once you have transmission installed, you can download this magnet file and get the torrent working. Okay. So boom. Let's see. And then you can get over BitTorrent. It'll probably take, depending on your internet speed, probably like a day. I have crazy fast internet. It took me like 4 or 5 hours. Maybe a little bit less than that, maybe like 3 hours. So if you want to, so I would give it like just something that you're downloading slowly. You know, maybe you can pause it too. So if your internet gets really slow because your BitTorrent, pause it, use transmission and pause it. Just hit the little pause. And then when you go to sleep, unpause it. So it's just downloading it while you sleep. And maybe in like 3 nights, you'll get the Blue Leaks. It's like 260 gigs. They'll take up like 25% of your 1 terabyte drive. And that's that. Okay. So this week I wasn't feeling well. And a friend of mine had a documentary. It's playing at the IFC theater in New York City. So if you live in New York City and you can go to the IFC Center, which is a film theater, there's a Reality Winner movie that's only going to be there for a few days. And it's only going to be there this weekend. Okay. And my friend Sonia, she's the filmmaker. So I think, I don't know what day, I think like the Q&A with her is over. That was on the 11th. Oh, actually Saturday the 14th. So today there's a showing at 6:40. So you still got time. So definitely check it out, of her movie Reality Winner, which is not the movie that's on HBO or whatever. Is it HBO? I don't even know what it's on. That's called Reality. So I'm just going to end with the Reality trailer because that's Sonia's cool and it's going to be awesome. So Reality Winner, that's the difference, I guess. I think one of the movies is called Reality. I think it's called that. And the other one is called Reality Winner. Okay. You want the Reality Winner one. That's the one. Okay. And here is the official trailer. It's not with an actor. It's with real people, including the family of the. And it just is to remind us, like, there's a price to pay for all the news and all the sources and all the leaks. There's real lives and real people, and we shouldn't forget that. So just like, you know, keep that in mind when you're doing this good work. And then we'll wrap. All right, everyone. As I always say, stay safe. Encrypt, encrypt, encrypt. Yo. I can't see my. I can't. Oh, I see. Okay, here we go. Let's go.
My name is Reality Winner. I'm an airman, a veteran, and I was convicted under the Espionage Act.
An Air Force veteran who had a top secret security clearance leaked this secret NSA report about a Russian military cyber attack days before the election.
Winner was threatened by the sight of 11 mostly armed federal agents during that home search.
Wally Taylor. Hey, how are you?
I didn't realize that it was about to become a 4-hour chess game for my life.
Riley, can you guess how many people might have printed out that document?
No.
That document has made it outside, obviously. We're here.
Obvious.
She claimed to hate America.
Imagine that you're talking to your own sister and they will find exchanges between you to show that you're a danger to the United States of America.
She would have been caught, even if, we had disguised the certain aspects of the document.
They gave him the envelope information and where it came from. What the heck?
She was the quintessential example of an insider threat.
There will be others, no matter how harsh this gets.
And that's the longest sentence ever imposed for this kind of violation.
Ironically enough, the first thing that people forget about this story is that I am a real person. I really thought that the whole world can be changed for the better with one deed or one action. And that's how we got here.
Boom. All right. So, let me stop sharing. Come on, machine. You can do it. Woo, man. We did it. Okay, we did it. So, this is the Blue Leaks link. I just realized that I didn't actually put it on the screen. So I'm gonna put it on the screen. And that is the movie Reality Winner. Sonia Kennebeck. Check it out. They had a screening a couple days ago in Texas, and Reality was there. And it's screening in New York City right now. So you just buy a ticket online, even if you can't show up, just to like let them see that there's interest in this. I might just buy 2 tickets, even though I can't go tonight. Just so IFC sees that like they should carry the movie and that they should screen it for a long time. And that's that. Okay. So we're about to get into this. All right. Stay safe out there. Peace.